Hello, my name is Parker Revere, and I will be talking to you about Christopher Hitchens today. Christopher Hitchens was born in Portsmouth, England on April 14th, 1949. Christopher's family traveled frequently due to his dad being in the Navy. Christopher has a brother named Peter and no sisters. After many arguments between Christopher's parents on whether he should go to private or public school, they finally decided that he should go to private school. Christopher's mother, Yvonne, always said, if there is going to be an upper class in this country, then Christopher is going to be in it. At the age of 8, he set off to find a school that best fit him. He finally came upon the Leys School in Cambridge. He attended this school until he started going to Balliol College in 1967. Christopher Hitchens graduated the college in 1970 with a degree in politics, economics, and philosophy. With all of this information in his system, he wanted to go exploring again and set forth to London. While in London, he began writing for the Times Higher Education Supplement and the New Statesman. In November 1973, Christopher's mother had an affair, and her lover had committed suicide by overdosing in Greece. When Christopher heard word, he rushed to Greece immediately to retrieve his mother's body. When he had got there, she had a note that was for him. Chris read the note, and it basically said that he would all understand this one day. In the year 1981, he moved to the United States of America and became a legalized citizen, and also married his wife, Eleni. They had 2 beautiful children, Alexander and Sophia. While Chris was living in Washington, D.C., he wrote for The Nation, and one of his best articles was the Minority Report. In 1987, his father died of esophageal cancer, and then later in 1989, Eleni and he had a divorce. He then married Carol Blue. They had 1 child together named Antonia. During the 90s, Christopher was able to have many life-changing opportunities. He was able to get his word out through his writings, and his many books and essays allowed him to be on TV and talk shows. Chris was angry towards the public for idolizing public figures, so he attacked them through word of mouth on many of the talk shows that he appeared on. Chris even went as far as criticizing the reputation of Mother Teresa by saying that she herself supported dictators. During the next decade, Christopher Hitchens' ideas significantly changed. As he kept writing, he made his novels more and more educational. Christopher thought himself as an atheist, even though he judged almost every religion on this planet and took a spot on the atheist movement. Christopher was also a chain smoker and a noted alcoholic, and on December 15th, 2011, he had his last breath in Houston, Texas. His death was due to the esophageal cancer that he had been battling for years. Even while he was undergoing treatment, he still was very committed, and he kept going to all his public events that were planned. As I already stated, Christopher Hitchens considered himself an atheist. He said, "A person could be an atheist and wish that belief in God were correct. An atheist, however, is someone who is relieved that there's no evidence for such an assertion." Hitchens believed that the concept of God and a supreme being denied people their individual freedom, and that scientific discovery should eventually replace religion as a way of teaching morals and ethics. One of his more famous books, God Is Not Great, sold over 500,000 copies. Hitchens was a very confrontational writer and thinker, and he often debated with many religious figures about religion. He wrote numerous editorials in support of the Iraq War. This in turn labeled him as being a neoconservative, although Hitchens did not support this fact. During his journalistic career in England from 1970 to 1981, Hitchens began to work as a correspondent for the magazine International Socialism. It was during this time Hitchens had finished his work at Oxford and left with a third-class degree. In 1977, Hitchens went to work for the Daily Express, where he became a foreign correspondent. He would eventually return to the New Statesman in 1979, where he then became a foreign editor. From 1981 to 2011, Hitchens had moved to the United States to become an editor for the New Statesman and The Nation. In 1992, he became a contributing editor for Vanity Fair. He would go on to win an award for his work in the magazine in 2007. The award was called the National Magazine Award, and he won it in the category of columns and commentary. It was during his career as a journalist that Hitchens became a socialist, largely as the outcome of a study of history, taking sides in the battles over industrialism and war and of empire. Hitchens had a big interest in arguing that people should have more freedom from that of the state. Hitchens did use the term socialist quite frequently, even though he would rather call himself a Marxist. He admired Karl Marx. However, he did not appreciate the fact that Marx did not have nearly as big of an appreciation for capitalism. For Hitchens did believe that capitalism was for the greater good. Christopher Hitchens' views on many things were very, very strong, and most of all were his views against religion. One of his strongest views is that God is not great, and religion poisons everything. It undermines humans as that we cannot be moral without Big Brother watching over us. He believed that God, gods, and deities were completely man-made fabrications that had just been believed to be true due to the many years of practice. He challenges any person who believes in God by asking them the question, how do you know God's will? Or how do you know that this is what God is thinking? He thought that the answer in explaining the origin of the universe is not found in religion, but found in science. He views that it is absurd to think that mankind is at the center of creation, based on the scale of the universe that we now know we live in. He stands behind science and reasoning. He once stated that if there was an all-knowing being, an intelligent designer, that he is unbelievably lazy, because in the past 100,000 years of human history, he has only cared about the past 2,000. Therefore, he believes we are idling an unworthy God. He was absolutely positively convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is formed from religion and organized religion. He believed it was a form of sadomasochism by saying we have to or are forced to love someone that we fear. He states that religion is the ultimate wickedness and stupidity. It tells us that our life here on earth doesn't mean anything. It is the life after death that does. By doing this, we long to die. We can't wait till it comes. Therefore, we care less and less about our actual life. He then states that even without gods or religion, mankind's moral dilemmas would be exactly the same. We would still have to wonder the meaning of our life here on earth. We would still have to answer the question, where did we come from, who are we, and what are we? He truly believed that Mother Teresa was a fraud, fanatic, and fundamentalist. He believed it was improper for her to be made a saint. He had one main view that he shared with many Christians. He believed that some of the most idealistic, brave, committed, young, and intelligent people that he knew were in the armed forces.